So, what are hobby board games? In this video, I'm going to share with you what I consider to be hobby games. I'm going to be showing some examples of some hobby games, and there may just be something that catches your eye and piques your interest. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Alisa, and welcome to my channel, Alisa's Loves. Most of you out there will know what a board game is. I think we all grew up with board games. This video is going to kind of explain what a hobby game is. The board games I like to talk about on my channel are the hobby games. These games that I love so much that have gotten me into this wonderful hobby of board gaming. I grew up playing board games. And I loved board games. I loved them my whole life. And then a few years ago, I discovered this whole other world of board games that are out there that I'd never heard of before. And I've loved them ever since. Games that I grew up on that I feel like probably most of you out there know of. Let's just show some examples of those. So I've got Clue, Cranium, Categories, The Game of Life, and then probably the quintessential board game that most people think of is Monopoly. Whether you love it or hate it, I still own it, as you can tell. These are, to me, the games that kind of started it all for me. So I have to give them credit because they're the reason I am in this hobby that I'm in and why I love this hobby that I love. Because I played these growing up. I just happen to find games out there, though, that in my opinion are much better and more fun to play than these ones that I grew up playing or played prior to discovering hobby games. Now, those games are games that you can find in your typical store. So you could go to a mass market store like Walmart, Target. So those are kind of your traditional games that we're all very familiar with. So now, what's a hobby game? Well, to me, a hobby game is a game that you won't typically see in one of these mass market stores. You're not going to typically see them in Walmart or Target or other places like that. Although they are becoming a little more prominent in those places, and some of Walmart and Target specifically are carrying more of these types of games. So some of you may have seen them out there, but there's so many that still will not be found in those stores. And hobby games to me also are games that are designed by a game designer, and you will typically see the name of that game designer somewhere on the box of a board game. So hobby games can also be called designer games. You can hear them be called designer games, modern games, because it's kind of a new modern take on board gaming. Tabletop games is another way to describe them, because again, you're at a table, you're playing a game. Sometimes they have a board, sometimes they're just cards, sometimes the cards make the board. Hobby games, there are hundreds and thousands of them out there, and there's so many getting made every single year. And these games are so much fun. They have different genres, different themes, different mechanisms within the game that you may have never heard of, because a lot of these traditional games that are very well known don't have some of these mechanisms that we find in hobby games. And so there's so much variety out there. I love them so much. This is why I want to share them on my channel. Because there's so many getting made, this board game community is slowly increasing, but there's still so many people out there in the world that have no idea what these types of games are. And I was one of those people a few years ago. I had no idea. And I'm so thankful that I discovered them, and it's led me down this path. But in a world where we are so glued to phones and screens. It's nice to find board games that can bring people together, where you socialize, you build connections, you interact with one another, and you have a really fun time. So that's kind of what hobby games are to me. And so I want to share some different types of hobby games that are out there and give you kind of an idea of the variety and the range of games. And this is I'm just giving you a little snippet, just a little bit. So let's go find out what some of these wonderful games are all about. Are you a foodie? Well, I have a couple of games that you might like. How about New York Slice? It even comes in a box that looks like a pizza box with instruction manual that looks like a menu at a restaurant with all of these little pizza slices. Do you like sushi? Well, you have Sushi Go or Sushi Go Party. Super cute little sushis. Are you a Disney fan like me, or maybe you really like fairy tales? Then I have a few games that are in that genre. One is the Grimm Forest. This is all based on the Grimm fairy tales. And in this game, you're gonna see the Three Little Pigs and Cinderella. It's a really fun game that's pretty simple to play with beautiful artwork and really nice components. Then there's Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, a gemstone mining game where you take on a role as one of the seven dwarves and you're mining gemstones. There's also the game Villainous, and you play one of the Disney villains in this game. There are 6 different ones, so maybe you want to play Ursula or Captain Hook or Jafar. You can do that in this game. Again, beautiful artwork and really nice component. Do you like scary themes? Well, you could play Dead of Winter. This is a zombie apocalypse game, and you all are working together to try to survive. But there could be somebody amongst you that betrays you, and you have to figure out, if there is one, who it is. In Mysterium, one person plays the ghost and the other players play the psychics. And the psychics are trying to figure out how the ghost was murdered, while the ghost is trying to give the psychics clues as to how the ghost was murdered. And so you're working together to try to solve the murder mystery. So this one's really fun. Maybe you want a game that's kind of relaxing and also pretty to look at. There's a game like Azul, or Takedo, or Sagrada. Really pretty games that are just have a really good, relaxing feel to them. Fantasy? How about Hero Realms? Do you like sewing? Patchwork. Have you ever done an escape room and really liked it? There's escape room games. This one's got a werewolf theme to it. Are you into pirates? There's Jamaica, all about pirates. Do you like building and constructing things? Junk art with lots of fun different pieces, and you're building. Really fun. Maybe you just like cute panda bears. Then there's Takadoko. So as you can tell, there's so many different types of board games out there, and they're a lot of fun. There are super easy games, there are really difficult games, there are games that are pure strategy, and then there are games that are pure luck. And so you kind of just end up finding what you like. And I truly think that there's a game out there for everybody. Even a person who doesn't like playing games very much, there's just so many out there that there's probably one out there that you would possibly enjoy. I've introduced these games to many of my friends and family members, and they've gone out and purchased some of them. And so I really enjoy it, and that's why I want to share it with all of you guys. If you're curious where to get these types of games, well, you can look into your where you live in your town or city and see if there's any local gaming stores around, and go there and see if somebody has a board game recommendation for you. If you unfortunately don't have a store like that where you live, then you can go online. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, Walmart and Target are slowly carrying more of these games. So for example, Villainous that I shared, that one is being sold in Walmart and Target. So some of these games are now getting into the mass market stores, which is really exciting because our board gaming community, we like to share all these amazing games out there with everybody. So those are some options for you. Yeah, and if you found any of this interesting, then consider subscribing to my channel. I upload a board gaming video once a week, so you can see other types of videos regarding these games. So I hope you found something that maybe looked kind of cool and you want to look into. If you have a question, then don't hesitate to leave a comment below, or you can send me an email. I will leave my email address in the description box. If any of these games interested you, then let me know in the comments below. I love talking about games, so just don't hesitate to ask me any sort of question. All right, well, I hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!